Hi teachers, this is the instructional guide for Primary 2, Term 4, week 6. Okay, for this week we have 2 booklets, and then the third booklet is actually a test, so please administer as homework as well. And that test is on picture graph tally charts. Okay, so let's start. Let's start with the first booklet. First booklet is on making patterns with 3-dimension shapes. So early on, they've already done making patterns with 2D shapes. This should be quite easy for them. Just to do a quick recap, right? The idea about doing making patterns is to identify the repeating pattern. Okay, so students would have to recognize where is a repeating pattern. Repeating pattern is when the set change or rather repeats itself. I'm sorry, right? So for example, you see here a cube and then a cone, right? After that, cube again. So this is the repeating pattern, right? Cube, cone, right? And then if you circle it for them, students will be able to see that, right? Cube, cone, cube, cone. Similarly, right, the method that we have also used last time, right, is if they are unable, especially when it gets a bit mouthful to read the name of the name of the shapes instead, right? So you might want to call it A, B, right? And then so this is the same, so it's A, B. Okay, so it's A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B, right? Same things, right? Cylinder, right? Sometimes can be a bit mouthful to say small cylinder, big cylinder, so they know that, okay, so small cylinder, we call it A, right? B, and then it's small again, so we use A, right? And then B, and then once you've done a few, right, they'll be able to see the repeating pattern there, right? Quite obvious. Okay, so the repeating pattern is AB. Okay, small cylinder and a big cylinder. The other one is numbers, right? So use of numbers, that's fine as well, right? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so please go through this with them, right? So similarly, it can be in terms of the patterns, right? They can change in terms of shapes. Or rather, sorry, they get patterns can be made into can comprise different shapes, right? Different sizes, different colors, different orientation. Okay, and sometimes a combination as well, shapes and orientation. All right, but this is quite easy. The idea is really to, I think we've used A, B, C, A, B, C, that's actually quite easy, right? For them to recognize the repeating pattern. Okay, then they do the guided practice. Okay. Here they can do any 2 consecutive shapes circle. Right, circle repeating group. Okay, here comprises 2 as well. Here would be any 4. 1, 2, 3, right? And then 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so they should be recognized, right? And then after that, they are to name the next pattern that comes next. Same thing. If they are able to do repeating pattern, right? This is like this, and then this is the first one, second one, third one. So another group here will be first, second, third, first, second, third. Okay, the third pattern, right? So all these questions are repetitive, all right? So I wouldn't bother too much with them. And we just go to those that are a bit different. So for example, question 2, all right, not asked during the guided practice, not done during guided practice. So you can try this instead, circle true or false. If false, circle the correct repeating pattern, right? So this one, the repeating group, is it true? Okay, so they have to identify, right? Is it, and then similarly, right, you use the ABC method or 1, 2, 3 method, the numbers method, 1, 2, 3, then 1 again, and then yeah, all right. So there's a repeating pattern here. So, all right. So if it's correct, they just circle through, right? They don't have to circle repeating pattern now. What about this, right? Is it a repeating pattern? Okay, so let's try cone, and then this is different shape or right, and then different again, and this is different again. Okay, so all right, and then then it changed. All right, so the repeating pattern is actually 4 shapes. 4 shapes in one group. And if you look at this question here, all right, it says the repeating pattern is only 3 shapes, so that is false. All right, in which case the students would then have to circle the repeating pattern here, which is made out of the 4 shapes. Okay. Have another one done for them. Maybe do another question C, right? If some, especially if some students did not get B correct, let them try this again. Okay. And then I think the rest are quite straightforward. So I would say perhaps do one last question here, which is question C. Okay, look at the pattern. Okay, the repeating group. One of the figures in the pattern above is wrong. Circle the wrong figure. So if this is the repeating group, this is the first figure. This is the second. This is the third. And they are supposed to see whether the rest are correct. So yeah, this is 1, but hey, this is different, right? So that's not 2, but this is 3. So obviously this one is wrong. Okay, and then this one is correct, and 2. Okay, so one figure is wrong, circle the wrong figure, and then circle the correct figure. So it should be this figure instead. Circle the figure in the 10th position. Right, so what is the 10th position? Now let's try. So make use of this list, second, third. Please write it this way, right? Otherwise, they'll confuse it with the numbers that I use below. So third. Okay, sorry, a bit challenging here, but you know what I mean. 4th. Okay, spell it out. 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. Okay, so how do you do this, right? So you know that each repeating group has got 3 shapes. So this is 1, 2, 3. Right, and then the 10th shape is actually 1. Okay, the first shape, which is this one, first. All right, so use this to teach them. Okay, now so book 1 is over. Let's move on to book 2. Book 2 is heuristics. Okay, more on shapes. And this question is about finding the numbers of shapes, right, within a shape. Okay, so let's look at this one. You can actually use this to teach them first. So if you look at this question here, ask them, right, how many triangles are in there? So the way to do it is to start counting the small triangles first. And you have 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you count the bigger ones, which is made up of 2 triangles, right? And then here you have another one here. Then you have another one here, right? And finally, the big triangle. Right, so in total is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right, so there are 7 triangles here. What about this? They are supposed to. How many squares are there? So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then after that would be the big square. So in total there are 5. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now, formally, right? Get them to do this question. So, how many triangles and rectangles are there? All right. How many different sizes of triangle do you see there? So here you can see 2 types only. It's either the small triangle or the big triangle. Okay, what about the different size rectangle? There are 2 also, right? The big rectangle and the 2 small rectangles. Okay, and after that they have to fill in the table here. You can teach them how to do it, right? Demonstrate, explain to them. So this is made out of 4 small triangles, right? 4, and then 1 big triangle, right? 1 here. Okay, for the rectangles, right? 2 rectangles, right? 2 here, and then the big rectangle 1. Okay, and then get that on screen. All right, so guided practice. This is something new for them. Please work through with them. This is a line. Okay, so how many lines are there? So they have to break it up. Lines, you can see there's AB, and then starting with A, there's AB, and then there's AC. All right, so 2 lines. Okay, then starting with B, there's only 1 line, BC, 1 line. So in total, there are 3 lines. For this question, they got to do the steps out. How many flat faces do 2 cubes have? Then 2 cones. So to break it up apart first, they need to find the number of flat faces for 2 cubes first. So they know that 1 cube has 6 flat faces, right? Multiply by 2. 2 times 6 is equals to 12. All right. What about the cone? The cone has 2 flat face, 1 flat faces each, 1 flat face each, times 2, 2 flat face. All right, and so the difference will be 12 minus 10. So have them write out the steps, right? That's important. Okay, and then question 1 and 2, right? Because the first two questions require hand holding. Question 1 and 2, right? Please get them to do on their own and you look at how they do it. Okay? And guide them along. All right, as they are doing it, okay? Especially if they don't understand how to get answers. All right. And then I would get them to do question 4 in class. Okay, so they have to count the number of triangles in here, part by part. Small triangle first, then after that, the one that is, yeah, all right, the different triangles, and finally, they have answered the difference. Okay, so to question 4, and then can perhaps do, let's see, question 7 as well. Okay. For math gym, I would say try it with them, right? Give them a go, but then many students were confused that these are considered flat face. So they will say that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 flat face here already, right? Then 7, 8. No, that's not what it means. So when it's put together, it has one flat face, actually only one flat face here on this side. So what that means is this is a cuboid, right? Figure A and B are cuboids. Cuboid has got 6 flat faces. So immediately they know that 2 of them together will be 2 times 6. So they don't count these individually. All right, got to explain to them. And then after that, the cylinder has got 2 flat faces and there are 3 of them. So it'd be 6. And the difference would be 12 minus 6. Okay, and then they can answer the question. Now, the rest of the time, okay, they can either do their corrections or they can start working on the figures and telechart tests. All right, that's it for this week's lesson.